to know. Oh, yeah, we need to show. Listen, watch, and flow. You need to.
I need to know, I need to know, I need to know. You need to know, you need to know, you need to know. We all need to know. What do we need to know? What do you need to know? What do I need to know? Many a times, many people debate that the book of Chronicles and the book of Kings, they contradict each other. So today we are going to be looking at both books, the book of Kings and the book of Chronicles. Variations in history, variation in historical details and numbers. So the book of Kings and the book of Chronicles cover many of the same events. Both of them cover many of the same events. The reigns of Israel and Judah's king. They cover the reign during the periods of the kings of Israel and the king of Judah. Yet they often vary in terms of historical details, numbers, and emphasis. There is some variation in the historical details, historical numbers, and the emphasis. But that doesn't mean they contradict each other. So, overview. Let's see the overviews of the Kings and the book of Chronicle. Let's see the aspect. The aspect, the first king and the first king, second king, first chronicle, second chronicle. The author and the source of the first king and the second king traditionally is associated with prophet Jeremiah or Isaacus. The book of first king and second kings traditionally associated, that is the author, was Jeremiah or Isaacus. But the first Chronicles and the second Chronicles, the author traditionally attributed to Ezra or post-exilic Levitical scribes. That means it's Ezra and the scribes after coming from exile. So the date of composition of the book of First King and Second King. First King and Second King was composed, that is, the date of composition was composed during or shortly after the Babylonian exile, that is the 6th century, that is 6th century BC. That's when the First King and the Second King were composed. What about the First Chronicle and Second Chronicle? The Second Chronicle were composed after the exile, that is around 450 to 400 BC. Don't forget, the First King and Second King was composed 6th BC, and the First Chronicle and Second Chronicle were composed 450 to 400 BC. So the primary audience of First King and Second King is exilic Israelite in Babylon. It was written to the people of Israel that are in exile in Babylon, where the First Chronicle and Second Chronicle were written to the post-exilic Jew back in Judah, those that came back from exile. So the main purpose of the First King and Second King, the main purpose is to explain why the kingdom fell. That's the reason why First King and Second King that's the purpose of First King and Second King. To explain why the kingdom fell, emphasizing covenant, failure, and prophetic warning. First King, Second King were composed majorly to explain why the kingdom fell, emphasizing covenant failure and prophetic warning. The First Chronicle and Second Chronicle is to encourage restoration and hope. Focusing God's faithfulness and proper worship. What is the tone of the First King and Second King? The tone is about prophetic and judgmental. But the book of First Chronicle and Second Chronicle, the tone is about priestly and redemption. how they redeem them back. So let's see the types of variation. Many a times those two books, they contradict each other. Let's see the types of variation. In terms of numerical differences, that is the numbers. The differences about the numbers, sometimes figures, years, troops, gold, etc. differs, but that doesn't mean they contradict each other. It's all about sequence. It's all about sequence. Someone can forget about sequence 1 and start from sequence 2. Somebody can omit sequence 4 and start from sequence 5. It's not that they contradict each other. It's about sequential order. So let's see the numerical differences. Example, kings. Solomon store for horses. 1 Kings chapter 4 verses 26 versus 2 Chronicle 9 and 25. When you compare each other, that is the book of 1 Kings 4 verse 26 and 2 Chronicle verse 25, which is chapter 9. Kings talks about 40,000 stores, and Chronicle talks about 4,000 stores. 40,000 stores and 4,000 stores. So likely reason. What is the reason? Hebrew, that is, you need to understand that Hebrew copies, many have misread a 0. The copies may have misread or may have misinterpreted the zeros, that is 40 versus 4. Chronicle 4,000 fits logical realism. When you see another example, men of Israel slain Abijah. Men of Israel slain Abijah. 2 Chronicle chapter 13 verse 17 versus 1 King chapter 15. It talks about 500,000 and nothing was recorded. Therefore, the Chronicle add this as a theological emphasis on Judah divine victory. It just the book of Chronicle just add this as a theological emphasis on Judah divine victory. When you also look at the temple measurement, the temple measurement weights. So the Kings talks about sometimes missing of simplify. The Kings can simplify or miss it, but the Chronicle often more details. That's why I talked about a sequence. One can give full details. One may not bother to give that details. It's as if it says, go, two of you go and record and do these things and bring the information that you see. What this one is seeing may be different from this one, and what this one is seeing at a particular time, maybe this one have saw something first before this one starts seeing it. And when this one is now writing his own report, he or she may omitted some certain things, and the other one can include, but that doesn't mean both of them are contradicting each other. So therefore, the book of Chronicle preserve priesthood, that is the priest, Levitical interest in temple precision. The kings, they are not that so concerned about the temple measurement, but the Chronicle, they are concerned about all the details about the priesthood, about Levitical interest, so that they be able to give more information accurately about the temple. This is where we are going to stop today. Tomorrow we continue to see how people are complaining that the book of Chronicles and the book of Kings contradict each other. But I'm telling you emphatically, there is no contradiction in any verses, in any book of the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation. It's just the way you read it and the way the author is reporting the issues to us. When you now compare Bibles with Bible, you'll be able to see that there is no contradiction. Tomorrow we continue with part 2. God bless you. God be with you. Help us to share. Help us to like and follow. God bless you in Jesus' name. Amen.